is Gilles Ducret. I'm a software architect and a project manager, and I'm in charge of web development for the International Private Banking Division of the Lloyds Banking Group. These slides are a bit outdated, so I'm not going to talk a bit about, but the Lloyds Banking Group is the result of a merge of Lloyds TSB and Halifax Bank of Scotland, and it's effective since mid-January. In international private banking, we are about 900 employees, and we are located in Geneva. We operate mainly in Europe, in UK, in the Middle East, and in South America. I'm going to talk about our use of Magnolia, the web content management solution we have put in place. And this solution is actually being used by the user of all of these different locations. I first wanted to talk a bit about Lloyds and open source. These are the group recommendations, and the group is really open to open source solution. It's considered that if an application meets our requirement, it must be used, whether it's open source or not. They just take into account that it's an open source solution in the selection process, but no difference must be made. The only big constraint we have is we are not allowed to modify the source code. This is to avoid licensing issues and confidentiality issues, because we've got a lot of privacy rules we have to respect, and by using some kind of GPL licensing, we may have problems. So we are not allowed to use to modify the code. In IT, in IPB stands for International Private Banking. In IT, we do use a lot of open source solutions. We've got Maven, Tomcat, we've got Linux Server, Continuum, Nagios, you have the list. But the only solution that is being used by business users is Magnolia. I arrived at Lloyds about 4 years ago. And when I arrived, the biggest issues I had to face were related to the intranet management and the internet management. We were in a situation where it had grown faster than expected. It became very, very difficult to manage. We had very labor-intensive and manual processes to publish information both on the intranet and on the internet. And as a result, we had a lot of errors when publishing the information, and we had a lot of duplicates between the two sites. The webmaster, he was just more than busy. He was overcrowded. And as a result, the user, since all the processes were webmaster-centric, the user, they are lost the ownership of the content. They used to use a Word document they sent to the webmaster, and he had to extract the content from this Word document and then to make something on it and put it on the intranet. And we had to do that. So I started a web content management project just to solve all of these issues. And we chose Magnolia in 2005. At this period, I focused on Java-based web content management solution and open source solution for two main reasons. First one was I had a very limited budget because it was not planned. I just arrived and said, you have to change that, so I had almost no budget. And I focused on Java-based solution because I wanted this solution to integrate well with our existing application, and our strategy was Java-based application. The key strength of Magnolia on this period, technically, was that they were following the Java standard. They were, at this period, the only ones respecting the GSR 170 specifications that tells how content must be managed in Magnolia. It was a pure Java development, G2A. When using the application, when testing the application, it was very easy to use for a webmaster, very intuitive. It was easy to install, and it had a very flexible programming model. And that's something that was interesting for us, because I wanted to be able to integrate with our Java-based application and this flexibility ensured that I could integrate very well. On the non-technical aspect, the most important one was they offered a professional support, because this is one of the rules we have to respect in IPB, is should an open source company offer the professional support, we have to buy it when acquiring the product. But I must tell that also the fact it was a Swiss-based company was also very interesting for us. First, it was a bit amazing. We were not used to have a Swiss-based company that could help us, because we had Tomcat, Hibernate, all of these American products somewhere. So I said, why not encouraging them, especially if they have a good product? This really eased the contact, because you are talking to somebody who has quite the same culture as you. And important also was they were operating within the same business hour than us. So if we needed some support, if we did send an email or call them, you have somebody who can respond immediately. You don't have to wait for the next day or pay extra fees just because you are calling somebody overnight, for example. And they were very flexible. Something like we had a chat on Thursday, and the next Monday they were in Geneva to discuss about the solution. And finally, interesting was I had no budget at the beginning of the project, and 2 months later we signed for the professional offer. So the budget appeared just because the solution was good. And now, after 3 years of usage of Magnolia, we have implemented all our intranet, our internet, and part of a private internet solution with Magnolia. The intranet is fully managed by Magnolia. We've got more than 2,000 pages, more than 3,000 documents. We've got 35 people updating the website very regularly. We've got 4 people working in the communication team who validate the content before publishing it. And we've got several sub-sites. We've got the LDEF's website, we've got the compliance website, we've got a very important website, which is a financial market website. This is where at least 25 analysts, business analysts, where they edit and publish their analysis of the market, their view of the market, and their recommendation. And this website is being used by the relationship managers when facing the client to advise them, to advise for investment. But since Magnolia is also quite flexible, we have implemented blogs. The managing director is editing a blog. It's based on Magnolia. We have implemented a wiki. We have implemented image galleries. Our website is quite rich, and we have been able to do that because the programming model is very flexible. Our public internet website is also fully managed by Magnolia. This is where we speak about the company. Where are the branches? Where are we located? What are the contacts? What are our products? Etc., etc. And we've got a private website. This private website is being used by clients to access their portfolios and to contact or communicate with their relationship managers. In this website, we integrate with Magnolia for all the marketing stuff. So the marketing team advertise on the website using Magnolia, saying, we've got a special product offer for the next 15 days, or please do not forget to register. The managing director also speaks to the client using Magnolia within this private internet website. And we also have the capability to publish to different locations. So this is our intranet, this is our internet public website, this is our internet private website. And in reality, our website is made of several sub-sites. And if you look at, for example, the helpdesk website or the compliance website, when they publish information, it's directly published on the intranet. But if you take the intranet, some of the documents of the intranet have to be published on the intranet, but also have to be made available on the public website or even on the private website. So we have the capability to publish from one site to multiple websites. It's not mandatory, but some documents are published only in one place, and some of them are published to 3 different places. Interesting also is that this financial market website about product recommendation and market views and analysis is for internal use only or for the clients. No public information. And you can see when we publish we publish on the intranet or on the private website for the clients, and not for the public website. And this is just part of the configuration of the site. We don't have to implement anything to do that. And this was something mandatory for us, the capability to publish to this different website. And we can do that both for the content, pure HTML, images, or whatever, or with documents. This is just a view of our intranet, just to have a look. This is another page where we search document directly within Magnolia document management system. This one was just to show this is a different template, just one main page. This is our public website, which is a multi-language website. So it's automatically managed by Magnolia. We just have branches, English branches and Spanish branches, and the navigation is managed by Magnolia. And this is the private website. I just showed this screenshot to show you that this is a completely different look and feel. Even if I've got information like this one about our product offers, and this information is being published both on the intranet and on this website with two different look and feel. That's not a problem. The content is completely separated from the look and feel. So we have built quite a complete solution around Magnolia to provide a lot of information to the people. It can be very sensitive information like this financial market information or just corporate information. Now after 3 years of use of Magnolia, we can say that the biggest benefits are we really simplified our publication processes. Now, Magnolia publish information. No, it's not labor intensive anymore. We've got only one single source of information. We share the document. Same document can be published to multiple places. And very important, the users, they now own the content. They don't need us anymore to publish the information. They don't need IT anymore. And because of the flexibility of the tool, we have some rich kind of information like wikis, news, portal. That's very interesting for us. The challenges, I would say they are mainly on the IT side. At the moment, I know that it's something that Magnolia is working on. It needs very good IT skills. You need to have good developers. And if you don't have this in your company, you must get a consultant or somebody like that. But you need to have skilled people. There is still a need for more documentation, but one of the main challenge, the two main challenges for us have been the fact that the product is evolving very quickly. And for us, we have some very heavy processes to respect within the bank. So we cannot follow all the changes. We cannot implement all the changes as it would take too long. And there are more infrastructure management than expected. One of the main reasons why we have more infrastructure management than expected is that the site grown faster than expected. Because now people have the capability to edit by themselves, and they do that. In the past, they sometimes did not dare doing that. Now they do, they publish, and it grows faster than expected. And we are developers, and the Magnolia is deployed and managed by the infrastructure team. And we have to make sure this team is well aware of how Magnolia should be used and how Magnolia should be deployed. And the fact that users now own the content can also be a challenge, because they sometimes don't understand what they are doing. So based on that, I had to speak about the best practices. Here are my view about the best practices. First, focus on user. You have to make sure they are well trained, because you will solve all the technical issues, but now the issues are with the users, with the business processes. So you have to train them, and you have to get feedback and assess the way they work, because sometimes they make things very complicated while it could be very simple. You have to monitor the website evolution, else they will do too much, and you have to make sure the site remains consistent, so that they don't have too deep menus, not everything. You have to make sure everything remains consistent, and to do that, you have to be very proactive with them, talk with them, see how they work, propose things. You will have to define new business processes. In the past, all the processes relied on the webmasters. Now it relies on the user, so you have to change the processes. The architecture must be scalable because it's going to grow faster than expected. I would say integrate with Magnolia. Magnolia is very flexible, so if for your applications you have a need for content management, I would say use the functionality, the integration capability of Magnolia. You don't have to write everything in Magnolia in this case. You will have to carefully plan the Magnolia migration of the Magnolia releases because we have quite a lot of documents now and it takes time to migrate all of them. It's not difficult, but it takes time. So carefully plan that. It's not ready to Magnolia, but let your webmaster be free to innovate. Coach him, control him, but let him be free to innovate. Do not underestimate the infrastructure workload, the availability of the machine. Make sure you got the backup, the security aspect, because I'm more a developer than an infrastructure guy. You should control that, just because now people use the website more than before, they edit it more than before, and sometimes when there are important news, all the people of the bank are in the intranet at the same time, which is something we never had in the past. They really search documents, something they never did. So now you have also to monitor the changes, which is keep informed, read the news, see what Magnolia is planning, and keep informed of the feature you would need in the future. And I would say do not implement all the releases, but only the most important ones. Do not miss the most important ones. And last, keep it simple, just because I have now the feeling that we have given too much information to the user. It's too rich, and now they want more and more very complicated things with Ajax. And if I look the group site, it's very simple to compare to us. So keep it simple, and people will be very effective at using Magnolia. I wanted to add just some few ideas about for open source solution providers. When we want your solution to be adopted by a company like us, it's important that an open source solution stick to the standards, because we may change solution. This is very important for us. Important also is that the product, it would be great if it also could run on the industry standard platform. It's not that we want everything on WebSphere or everything on Oracle, but we have invested a lot, for example, on an IBM WebSphere cluster with high availability, etc., etc. And then we have to do the same with Tomcat, for example. There are some kind of redundancy, and at the moment, if we want to migrate the open source solution we have to WebSphere or Oracle, it's our job to do that. It can take time. So it would be great if we know it's running on another machine. Offering a professional support, something mandatory for us, must be easy to use, must be easy to install. Sometimes when I do evaluate open source solution, I can't even install them. So what can I think about a solution I cannot install? How could it run? And the two last points are, you must keep in mind that in some cases, your product will be subject to stronger validation processes than proprietary processes. I still have people in the IT security teams who validate my choice, who believe that open source means freeware. So I have to explain them and make a real effort on documentation. We don't need full documentation. If we get open source solutions also for the flexibility, for the capability, and the possibility to read the code, but if we have at least how to start, what are the best practices, how to start something, this would be great.